Hey, it's fully funded here. I retired in my 30s as a millionaire, and now I'm living off passive income. Let's talk. Okay, let's talk about Gen Z, PolyMarket, and gambling. So, look, I'm a millennial, and I'm tired of hearing older folks talk about how Gen Z and PolyMarket and gambling, it's all bad and it needs to be stopped and all this other stuff. Look, let's get some things in perspective. So first of all, the economic system has completely changed from where it used to be. You know, we have we have now changed from a wealth creation phase to a wealth extraction economy. That's just what it is, and it can happen in different ways. Whether it's by betting, when there's winners and losers, gambling, winners and losers. But guess what? Also, companies, right? Now, for Gen Z to even start a company, they have to compete with Amazon and a bunch of these consolidated giants, right? Who can do things far cheaper, right? So the point is that Gen Z is at a really rough time in society. And number two, let's talk about wages. Over 40 years, the gap between wages and inflation has just, and in asset prices, it's just continuously taken L's, for the past 40 years. So for a Gen Z to inherit this economy and tell them to do stuff like, just work for 40 or 50 years and invest in S&P 500, in general, that's not going to work. And even for all the people that you see online, oh, I get it. Like someone in the 28, oh, I invested. No, they did not take their time and have a one steady job and work for 50 years or 40 years, right? Usually it's some kind of, again, a lucky situation. Some maybe, an inheritance or some type of business they did and they exited, or a very high paying job with stock options that just happened to go up during that time, right? Because that's just what happens. Usually with people, to get wealthy or rich, there needs to be some element of luck outside of their quote unquote genius luck. Okay. That's just what it is. So let's not, berate these Gen Zs and tell them, oh, they're doing bad and all this other stuff. No, it's a different time, and that's just what it is. But universally speaking, it was always about risk taking. The wealthy, they took the risks, and it paid off for some of them. And guess what? You win some, sometimes you lose some. So let's talk about more so PolyMarket and gambling. So first of all, there's a difference between someone who's mentally ill and who's like a financial alcoholic or who had the same symptoms of an alcoholic, just throwing away money, for no reason, versus someone who's taking an educated bet on something they have conviction in and they've researched. Okay. They're completely two different things. And again, even for myself, I became a millionaire in my 30s and, I'm living off my investments. But for me to even get the money to get it over a $2 million portfolio, more $3 million portfolio, to do that, I had to take, in my 30s, I had to take risks, so I had to, whether it was, trading, which is, or whatever, Bitcoin, whatever these things are, right? People have to take risks to get to where they want to get to, especially if, and this is the other part as well that I don't like about, the simple advice about compounded interest for 40 years. Look, we don't know if we have 40 years, right? Number one. Number two, most people, when they think about being wealthy, subconsciously, they're thinking about being wealthy at a young age where they can enjoy the rest of their wealth. And it's not just about the young. You could be 50, for example, and, let's say you don't have nearly enough saved. When you do the math, guess what? Well, the only other chance you have is by taking risks. Now, that doesn't mean foolish risk. It doesn't mean, we're not going to the technical stuff of portfolio allocation and whatnot, but some level of risk is required of your portfolio or your time or your energy if you're hoping to get wealthy enough where you can live off your investments passively. That's just what it is. There's no way around it. Look at all the entrepreneurs, all of them. They took risks. Look at a lot of them who failed as well, right? But you can't live in fear. And that's what I'm trying to say. And Gen Z, they're doing what they have to do. PolyMarket, gambling, whatever is required. I mean, hell, in other countries, it can get worse. That's where criminals and crime happen when there's no longer a fair chance. When there's and let's not even talk about the job market for Gen Z right now. It's garbage, right? So I'm just saying, it is what it is, and you always have to take some type of risk and try to get lucky. And I think once This is what I'm trying to tell people. Right, this is basically, if you look around, this is what's happening. Okay, people take risks, they get lucky, and that's how they get wealthy. So do the same.